His score is 10-2. All he needed was a draw. And he's playing Abe Turner, whom he's never beaten. One of the few masters to have a plus score against Bobby Fischer is this guy, Abe Turner. This is Abe Turner and Bobby Fischer. Now, Abe Turner, this is a sad story, Abe Turner. Very sad story regarding Abraham Turner. He lived from 1924 to 1962. His peak rating was over 2,400. He played in several of the U.S. championships, but was best known as a blitz hustler. But he did have a winning record against Fischer, having beaten him twice previous to this game. Well, let me mention how he learned to play chess. He learned as an adult. Somebody was saying they didn't start till their 20s. Abe Turner learned to play chess in 1943 when he was in the Naval Hospital being treated for shrapnel wounds that he suffered during the war, World War II. But he was found stabbed to death in the basement of an Upper West Side building where he worked as a clerk for Al Horowitz for the Chess Review magazine. Here's the article that I read from Chess Review. I have it here on my desk. Quote, at 3:30, the building superintendent, following a trail of blood, found a body in a large safe in the basement. It was Turner's. The police apprehended Theodore W. Smith late that night when he returned home. Smith led police to a hunting knife that he had buried in Central Park. When asked why he killed Turner, he replied, "The Secret Service told me to do it." The murderer was taken to Bellevue Hospital for observation. So very sad. 1924 to October 25th, 1962. Didn't live to be 38. Knight F3, Ready's opening. Knight F6, King's Indian attack with G3. D5, the Yugoslav variation. Bishop G2, E6, castles. Bishop E7, D3, castles. Queen's Knight D2, B6, and E4. And here Abe Turner leaves the ECO and plays pawn takes pawn. The book line continues with, showing the book line now, not what was played. The book line continues with Bishop B7, E5, King's Knight D7, Rook E1, Pawn C5, Knight F1, Knight C6, H4. Now, you'll note this ziggurat formation. This is what I play against the London system. The difference being that this pawn is here in the London, and I bring my bishop to D6. But I found this structure to be pretty solid in a lot of lines. Most common continuation from here, by the way, is Queen C7. None of that was played, because Turner played pawn takes pawn here. Pawn takes pawn, bishop b7, queen e2, queen c8, pawn e5, king's knight to d7, knight e4, knight c6, bishop f4, knight c5, rook d8 seems stronger. a5 has also been frequently played here. That gets a thumbs up. Rook d8, the preferred move by the bot, getting the rook on the open file. Knight c5 by Turner. Knight takes the knight. Bishop takes the knight. King's rook to d1. Knight e7. Bishop e3. The bishops are traded. Now knight f5 hits the queen. Thought c5 might be stronger here. The bot calling for h6. What do I get for c5? Star. But knight f5 does hit the queen, so very aggressive. Queen back to e2, and now c5 is played. c3. I actually like this idea of g4 right here, and the point of g4 is to remove the defender of d6 so I can play my rook to d6. It gets a question mark, but that's what I would like to play. After knight e7, rook d6. All right, I've got two brilliancies on the knight. I can put up with a couple of derogatory marks. Well, c3, queen c7, and you can see there, after queen c7, a draw was offered and accepted. Well, again, all Bobby needed was a draw. Now, I really want to emphasize this because there's this myth out there. Bobby Fischer did not hate draws. he hated prearranged draws by a bunch of commies that gave each other easy draws so that they could save energy to fight their hardest against Fischer. So he didn't hate draws. He hated prearranged draws. He did not mind, as this game proves, taking a quick, fast draw and calling it a day and putting the first place prize in his pocket. Yes, exactly, chess dude guy. He hated Russian collusion. Well, there's always been a degree of collusion, it seems, among countrymen in the top-level chess. In fact, it's funny, there are certain lines that are just so dead drawn, and there have been players who would just prearrange, hey, we're not only going to draw, but we're going to play such and such a line. So here's a very fast draw, not much to really show, except I did get to show you the book line in the Yugoslav variation of the King's Indian attack.